High winds and dry conditions are back, causing dangerous wildfire conditions across the state.
Plus, inside the little-known law that's making it harder for dreamers to earn a living, and what's being done on Capitol Hill to change that.
And on Break It Down, how climate change is affecting our environment.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Jenna Delatorre.
And I'm Reed Harmon. Thank you for joining us.
Fire danger is high in parts of Arizona. That's because of high winds and super dry conditions. As Cronkite News reporter Riley Walter reports, experts say Arizona will likely see another major wildfire year.
There have already been a couple wildfires in Arizona this year.
You know, we really don't say we have a fire season anymore because we can have a fire start at any time of the year and anywhere.
This month, the Margot fire in Pinal County burned around 1,100 acres. Another fire burning southwest of Heber continues to burn. Davila says by June, there will likely be widespread fire activity across the state.
When we're talking about early activity in those particular areas, central and southern Arizona, we still have a carryover of fine fuel from last year in some unburned areas. And it's just pretty much an abundance of this grass fuel type.
Arizona had one of the driest monsoon seasons on record last year. Much of Arizona is in severe to exceptional drought. That's not expected to change anytime soon.
We didn't see as much rain or snow. So that proposes the questions is how did those plants respond? Well, just going out in the desert, listening to the fire folks who are out there gauging those fuels, looking at satellite imagery. We're definitely not seeing the kind of growth that we saw in 2020.
Deemer says the National Weather Service works with its partners to give detailed forecasts to help first responders fight the fires in the safest way possible.
Our goal is 30 minutes or less. Get that data out there to the folks who really need it because they're making decisions. And the last thing we want to do is have anyone's life on the line because they're not aware of a wind shift or the potential for lightning strikes.
The fire near Dudleyville in Pinal County earlier this month was human-caused.
Most of the fires we do have that start in Arizona are preventable. And, we really want to encourage people that they don't want to be that person that starts that one wildfire that takes out homes, communities, and is a threat to public health and safety.
Garcia says people need to remember to completely put out their campfires, properly stow tow chains, and make sure car tires are in working order to prevent blowouts. Riley Walter, Cronkite News.
Red flag warnings are in effect until 8 tonight for southeastern Arizona. Winds could gust to 40 miles per hour and humidity is low. If a fire were to start, it could spread quickly and erratically.
The triple digits are creeping up on us in Arizona, and soon the temperature on your thermostat could be in the hands of utility companies. This week, the Arizona Corporation Commission voted to change power disconnection policies. This new plan would allow utility companies to use either a temporary suspension of disconnects or follow a 95-degree limit policy. The suspension would span from June 1st through October 15th, while the temperature limit stops electric companies from turning off your power on days over 95 degrees.
Each co-op does it a little bit differently, but generally it's the same thing. They use the National Weather Service to advise them if it's going to be hot and what the temperatures are going to be. And if they get into that kind of a situation, then they don't do shut-off. So it's very similar to what the ACC did yesterday, but the ACC kind of allows those co-ops to make their own decisions.
The policy would also require companies to notify customers ahead of time if they plan to disconnect power. It's not finalized, but the new plan would most likely begin summer of 2022.
Although it's a little cooler out today, there's still a red flag warning in effect for southeastern Arizona. Melissa Zaremba is standing by with more on that, plus a sneak peek at our weekend weather forecast. Melissa?
Yes, right now we're experiencing slightly cooler temperatures today, and you also heard we are experiencing fire season just a little bit earlier. And check out these hot temperatures with these high temperatures across the state. Phoenix is at 86 degrees, so it's going to be fairly warm. But if you want to escape and go into the cooler temperatures, you're going to want to go to Flagstaff at 63 degrees. And then taking a look at our future forecast, we're going to see some clouds brushing through the state and even some light rain chances up in Flagstaff. And then taking a look at the rest of the evening, it is Earth Day. and it is going to be 80 degrees by 6 p.m. So if you're going to be outdoors planting a tree, you're going to want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water. And by 10 p.m., we're going to go into a cool down at 73 degrees, and we're going to see those clouds rolling in. And then starting off our weekend, we're going to see a lot of sunshine at 86 and holding on to 92 degrees over Saturday and Sunday. And then taking a look at starting off our work week, we're going to see a 20% chance of rain on Monday and drop into the 79 degrees. And then don't worry, we're going to warm right back up towards the end of the week. And we might even see our first triple-digit weather by next Friday. So let's really enjoy this cool down while we still can, because we're going to warm right back up. In the Weather Center, I'm Melissa Zaremba.
With vaccination efforts in full force, airlines and airports are on their way to bouncing back from a year that saw passenger traffic fall as much as 96% at the lowest points of the pandemic. That's what industry officials told senators. Charlene Reynolds, Assistant Aviation Director of the Phoenix Department of Aviation, told the Senate Commerce Subcommittee that Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport is seeing those gains too.
We were very, very excited to see numbers increase to about 70% as compared to last year.
Despite the gains, health experts told the Senate panel COVID-19 safeguards must remain in place on aircrafts as travel picks up. The president of the association flight attendants asked lawmakers to extend a mask mandate for air travel that is currently set to expire May 11th.
DACA protection can bring undocumented immigrants rights that most Americans take for granted. Things like working, driving, and going to school, but it won't land them a job on Capitol Hill because it's illegal to hire dreamers for federal jobs. Some Arizona lawmakers want to change that, as Molly Hudson reports from our Washington bureau.
Jose Patino first knew he wanted to work in the halls of Congress in 2010 when he came here as a college junior with thousands of other students to lobby for the American Dream Act.
After that, I really wanted to go, but it's just not possible.
Not possible because of his citizenship status as a DACA recipient. Patino cannot work on Capitol Hill because of a little-known law that prohibits hiring undocumented citizens for paid federal jobs. That came as a surprise to Arizona Representative Greg Stanton, who learned he could not hire his campaign director to work in his Washington office. He said that was a tough conversation to have.
Heartbreaking is probably the best way to describe it. I mean, someone that's poured out her time and talent, her heart and soul into your campaign, she would have been a huge asset to the people of Congressional District 9 because of her unique talent and passion and experience.
Attributes he says would benefit Congress if members could hire dreamers.
I think it's a real loss that members of Congress can't have the benefit of having DACA recipients or people who would benefit from the DREAM Act to work on Capitol Hill.
Arizona Representative Ann Kirkpatrick agrees and has been trying, unsuccessfully, to change the law for years now.
These students are wonderful people. They're bright, they're intelligent, they want to make a contribution to the American dream, and they deserve that right.
Stanton has no doubt immigrants can get the job done.
So many of our young people, whether they are documented or undocumented, they're entrepreneurial, many are bilingual, they have family and friends relationships in Mexico, Central Latin America. That's the future. That's the human capital that really benefits us.
Patino still has hopes of working on Capitol Hill, although his aspirations have changed since that first trip in 2010.
For me, it was always Senator John McCain when he was alive, right? He's always been, at least growing up, just having the voice on immigration.
Today, he hopes to contribute by working in the offices of Arizona Senators Kyrsten Sinema or Mark Kelly, which is why he's pulling for Kirkpatrick's bill.
It allows at least DACA recipients to be a little bit more part of the American society.
Kirkpatrick's bill, which would also cover people here on temporary protected status, simply says they'll be treated the same way as a U.S. citizen when it comes to a job in Congress. She has introduced it every year, but is hopeful for this year's version, which has 55 co-sponsors. In Washington, Molly Hudson, Cronkite News.
The First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, visited the Navajo Nation today. She'll be there through tomorrow with plans to meet Navajo Nation President Jonathan Nez, tour a vaccine site, and hold a listening session with Navajo students. When you think of Phoenix food, you may think about short-leash hot dogs, Carolina's burritos, or Pizzeria Bianco, but Cronkite News reporter Tyler Mannion has a story of one chef that thinks differently than most.
The chef you're about to meet uses hand-picked ingredients, goes out to sea to catch some of his own fish, and farms a lot of his own product. So here's my warning. This story may contain mouth-watering images. Cooking is an art for many chefs, but for Brett Vibber, it's more than that.
My nostalgia and my youth and my family.
Vibber grew up near the Salt River Pima Maricopa community. His co-owner, Jaron Bates, grew up in the Navajo Nation. Together, they make up Wild Arizona Cuisine.
Between those two tribes, I think they would have the biggest influence, but you always want to be honoring any indigenous cuisine wherever.
The team serves dishes to the valley with the freshest ingredients possible.
Over 300 days a year, our crew or myself, we're foraging, in the mountains of Arizona, the deserts of Arizona.
The COVID-19 pandemic helped Vibber realize that sustainable foods aren't just trendy, they are necessary for our future. So he looked back for inspiration to move forward.
The indigenous cultures were the original, stewards of the land, the original stewards of sustainability.
Pop-up dining experiences were the way to go, so he can tell his clients,
hey, we picked this just for your dinner this morning, and these are the only ones we've seen all year, and we're not sure if we're going to see them again.
And it's working. Wild Arizona Cuisine was recently honored in a national magazine, and pop-up experiences sell out every time. But for Vibber, the real success is in the food.
To bring the wild foods back into our cuisine and start seeing, actually what Arizona cuisine can be all about, that's big, that's huge.
It's going back to our roots, Vibber says, and eating sustainable, fresh food that really makes Wild Arizona Cuisine art. Vibber says eventually the plan is to open a restaurant, but he's having a great time just doing these pop-up experiences for now. In the studio, Tyler Mannion, Cronkite News.
I'm Jordan Spurgeon, and after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report, including how one longtime Cardinal is making his impact on education. Don't go away.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Everyone has secrets. Are you protecting someone?
I have no choice.
You do have a choice. You're looking at him.
That's amazing. We could be standing on top of a T-Rex right now.
Women demanded new space and pushed the boundaries of what being a lady means.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Become a member of this PBS station, sign in, and start streaming today.
Cronkite News provides students at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism with the opportunity to gain real-world experience in the newsroom. At Cronkite News, our students produce professional content for audiences by taking on all roles, whether they be reporting, anchoring, producing, or studio production. Each department gives students first-hand professional newsroom experience. For more information, visit cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. I don't go anywhere without my passport. And now, thanks to PBS Passport, you can travel with me and watch all 10 seasons of Rick Steves Europe and all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today and get your passport.
Welcome back. I'm Jordan Spurgeon with your Cronkite Sports Report. Giving back to the community has become an important part of many professional athletes' lives. In Arizona, longtime Cardinal Corey Peters has focused his efforts on education. Cronkite News reporter Mason Kern has the story about Peters' impact on young students in South Phoenix and beyond.
Did everybody read the book? Did anybody finish it?
Corey Peters hasn't always enjoyed reading. In fact, his parents had to coax him into it when he was a child.
I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of reading per se growing up, but I think my parents did a good job of, forcing me to take the time to do things the right way and spend some time reading.
As he got older and matured, the longtime Arizona Cardinals defensive lineman realized that he could provide the gift of education to his community. So the Corey Peters playbook was born.
I feel like it's my responsibility to pay it forward, help some other kids, get some opportunities that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise had.
After holding his book club in person for several years, the COVID-19 pandemic forced it to go virtual in 2020.
Two of Trevor's greatest passions are reading and football, specifically the Cardinals. So when I saw this, I was just like, this is the perfect thing for him. And, you know, he's a little more apprehensive when it comes to social elements. So it being online was even a greater fit.
While the playbook was an offering exclusively for Arizona high school students last year, it's being pushed nationwide in 2021.
Since it's expanding, so maybe there'll be more kids and I guess maybe longer meetings and more thoughts put into it. Corey Peters, he's been really nice during the meetings and all that, and he's like accepting.
Being able to do it virtually, we're able to reach a wider range of students. I also think the students are a lot more comfortable being able to share.
The personal touch Peters puts toward his participants has not gone unnoticed either.
Just the relationship he's developed with Trevor and how he's helped Trevor kind of come out of his shell and have greater experiences and stuff. We're forever grateful for that.
While he's currently a free agent, Peters is hoping to continue to make an impact in the Arizona community he's served for the last 5 years, even if he's no longer playing for the Cardinals.
My community work, I really have a special connection to South Phoenix community.
And that will never change. In Phoenix, Mason Kern, Cronkite News.
Peters is recovering from a torn patellar tendon from last year and said he's having discussions with several teams ahead of the 2021 season. Another Cardinal we are honoring today is Pat Tillman. 17 years ago today, Tillman was killed on active duty in Afghanistan. Tillman left a legacy in Arizona as a standout player at ASU who was later drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. After 9/11, Tillman turned down a $3.5 million contract to enlist in the U.S. military. He will continue to be remembered not only as a great player, but as a great leader. That does it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Jenna and Reed.
And that's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.